What's up, Buck Dugudini in the garage. Today we're going to be tackling an issue where the heat in your vehicle is either not as hot as you would like it to be, not as hot as it used to be, or maybe it's not hot at all. Now this is one of two things. Either it's low coolant or it's a clogged heater core. Now, if your heat is not working properly, and when you hit the gas pedal, acceleration, you hear rushing water behind your glove box, that's a simple fix. You just have low coolant. Now, aside from needing to figure out why you have low coolant, that can obviously be fixed by adding more coolant. What we're going to focus on today is the other cause of low or not working heat, and that's a clogged heater core. Now, for this, it's a relatively easy job, but you are going to need a few things. Now, first and foremost, you're going to need a vehicle having this issue. Loyal viewers of the channel will notice, yes, that's right, I'm making another 4.7 cooling system issue video. At this point, I'm not even going to act surprised anymore. Just assume that every fifth video is going to be on the cooling system on the Chrysler 4.7 liter V8. Now, for the actual flush, you're going to need something for the initial flush, good old H2O. There's nothing better than it. You can use distilled water. I'm using some nice warm water from the bathtub. Then you're going to need something for the secondary flush. I like to use just plain old vinegar because it's nice and safe. There are some more aggressive things. You'll see people using CLR and other things, but sometimes that stuff is not safe for aluminum, and guess what your heater core is made out of. After that, I'm going to be reclaiming the coolant that's in there to reuse it, because as you know, that coolant's not too old, but you may need additional coolant, or maybe you're doing a coolant swap when you do this. After that, you're definitely going to need a funnel. One with a nice little tiny tip like this is going to be nice, and some amount of common little pliers or something to get your hoses disconnected. Your mileage will vary, something along those lines. I additionally am going to be changing my radiator cap because I do suspect mine is bad, but that's secondary. That's probably not something you will need to do. Next thing you're going to need to do is find your heater core lines. They're going to go from somewhere near your water pump. Mine are right here, and they're going to run back into your firewall. We're going to disconnect them down there at the water pump. You see there's these clips, those terrible little clips that everybody hates. I'm going to put my bucket under there. I'm going to disconnect both of those clips, and then we're going to begin our flushing. Alrighty, on this 4.7, it was easier to take the tension pulley out to be able to get access. You get your hoses off, and then you can free these up. There you go. Drain them down into your bucket. We'll do that with the top one too. Uh-oh, we're missing. We're missing in a big way. Oh, that'll happen. Amateur hour. We got more on the floor than we did in the bucket, but honestly, that's just the way she goes. The whole thing here is you're not just draining your heater core, it's going to backfeed and you're going to lose most of the coolant in your block. But that's no big deal. That's why you want to get the bucket under there. You'll notice I actually lifted the whole Jeep up so I could jimmy jam a big bucket under there. Don't make the mistake of trying to catch all your coolant in one of these, because that's just not going to happen. So we're going to sit here. I'm going to go balance my checkbook or something while this drains, and then we'll get into her. Alright, once your coolant is drained, you're going to want to move it someplace so that it's not going to get all the crud from the heater core, cover it up. I like to strain it before I put it back in just to make sure. That was a clean bucket, but you just never know, Buck. Coming over here, you can see our setup. We've got our funnel crammed in there. Going to go through into a little catch bucket there. We're going to use some of the warm water going this way. We'll see what comes out, and then we'll probably do it the other way, and we'll go back and forth a couple times. You don't really want to add too much pressurized water to this, because that heater core will go pop, and your day will have gone from mildly inconvenient to totally forked. Replacing a heater core is not cool. These systems typically only work with about 12 pounds of pressure, give or take, depending on your application. Alrighty. So you can kind of see the water bubbling out down there as we pour it in up here. Can add a little bit more. It's slowly going to refill up the heater core and push out any of the stuff that was in there, hopefully. What we're going to do is wait till the bubbles stop. Then I like to put a cloth over it and blow it out. There we go. We blew all the water out of there. I'm gonna go ahead and switch these hoses around. We'll do that a couple times, see if we don't have some results. Alrighty, I went each way twice, and then I blew it out, so there's minimal liquid in there right now. Now we're gonna bring both hoses up above the level of the heater core. The idea being that we'll be able to fill the heater core now with vinegar. And let that sit for 10 minutes. Oops, sorry, I kicked the camera. Amateur hour, I tell you. So we're going to go ahead and fill this heater core up. And we'll know it's filled when we see a bit of vinegar spilling out here. Heater cores aren't big. They only hold a few ounces of liquid. But there it goes. And we're going to let that sit for about 10 minutes. Alrighty, friends, that vinegar's been eaten for about 10 minutes. Hope you did something interesting with the time. Give it back. Oh, Christmas. Wow. It's a good way to find the cut you put in your hand installing a ceiling fan. Just spill vinegar all over it. I tell you. So we're going to put this little guy down yonder in the bucket. In the bucket. Dang it, I said in the bucket. There we go. And we're going to blow out as much vinegar as we can. Going to pour a good amount of water through here. We want any last bit of impurities as well as any of that vinegar to get the heck out. I hear it percolating its way through. Alrighty, now the very last thing you're going to want to do is do a final flush with coolant to push that water out. Otherwise your ratio is going to be all screwed up. So here's some of our previously reclaimed coolant. We're going to dump on through. Hopefully that'll push all the water out, or at least some of it. And there she blows. Not teabag. Alright, now you're just going to obviously do the inverse of what you just did. Put everything back together. And then bleed the system however your system's supposed to be bled. Most of them can just be bled through here. If you have a 4.7 or a 3.7, I'm going to put a link up in the corner to a video that explains the obnoxiously complex and unreliable way we have to bleed our systems. We will check back in a moment once I've got all this Jimmy Jam back together. Alright, 4.7's outside doing its thing, running, getting bled, no big deal. Let's get this thing cleaned up. First and foremost, can you see what's in the bottom there of this? You got some flaky, gooey stuff, you got some gritty, dirty stuff. You can see it even better from underneath here. That all came out of the heater core. It may seem insignificant, and that's just a little bit of dirt, but your heater core is not large. The passages are not big, so if you have a bunch of this stuff lodged against the passages in there, well, you're not moving coolant, so you're not generating heat. That's the first thing. Number two is the radiator cap. Why did I get a new radiator cap? Another reason that you may have low heat or no heat is because you don't have the proper amount of coolant in your system, and the reason you may not have the right amount of coolant in your system is probably because it's leaking out somewhere. Now you may have a leaky water pump, you may have a leaky thermostat, or you may have a bad radiator cap. That is what my situation was. This will often go hand in hand with overheating. If you're overheating and you have no heat, you have low coolant, I mean, you get it. So we're going to close this one up here. I'm going to mention one final thing, and this is just for the 4.7 guys. I've done a lot of talking about how you have to use the proper coolant. Now the proper coolant for that Jeep is Mopar part number MS9769. Now I only use either the Mopar stuff or the Xerex Go5. And a lot of people have given me their opinions, shall we call it, on using the Xerex. Oh, well, it's not the right color, so it can't be the right one. Well, I know reading's hard, but if you read the back of Xerex Go5, it says, meets or exceeds Mopar Chrysler MS9769. So yes, it comes out of that bottle in like a gold color, kind of, whereas this stuff is a little bit pink. Sometimes you get it, it's a little bit orange. I know that colors are what we learned before reading, but go ahead and bypass the colors, do the reading. Your mileage may vary, but for me, using either this stuff or the Xerex, and I have been fine mixing the two. I did it in this Jeep just now. Everything that I pulled out of it and put back was Mopar, and I didn't. The dealership was closed today, so I had to get some Xerex. That was just for the Jeep guys, but this process will work for any vehicle that has a heater core. They all get dirty after a while, and they all need to be flushed. I like to do the method where you go forward and backward, back flush and flush and back flush and flush, and then let it sit with some vinegar. Anyway, if you have any questions on this video or process, by all means, leave me a comment down there in the squawk box. If you liked the video, like the video. That's common sense, isn't it? Subscribe to the channel, maybe even check us out on Etsy. This video is going to go up a couple days before Christmas. You may have noticed our videos have been a little less frequent. December is the time of year to spend a little more time with the family. So that's what we've been doing. Don't for any reason think we're not going to hit the ground running in January. Plenty of projects, plenty more to do. Hopefully more stuff on Eric's Tahoe. And the DOA Dakota is going to get some attention. I will leave you all there. As always, thanks for watching.